321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2. Text now and we'll even throw in a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Product not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports, and it's brought to you by Vector Security Champions Lane, the best pregame fan fest in college football. For more information, visit championslane.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On Tuesday's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we'll be joined by the voice of the Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart.
Yeah, drove the ball well, turned it over, pick six, 87 yards, something else we hadn't allowed is a long punt return, which put them in field goal range for their initial field goal. Fumble on a punt return hurt you. A missed field goal, short one. They make three, including one from 52. They force three turnovers. We have two interceptions in our hands and can't get them picked off. And look, defense was exceptional. So I'm not picking on anybody in any way, just stating fact of things that any one of those go your way and the result is different. But the reality is Oklahoma made enough plays to win. Alabama didn't.
I'll have more in a moment. Tide fans, are you ready for game day in Tuscaloosa? Don't miss the ultimate pregame experience this season at Vector Security Champions Lane, opening 4 hours before each home game. This fan fest has everything you need to get pumped for kickoff. Located next to the Walk of Champions, you'll enjoy live music, player autographs, the best food trucks from all over Alabama, and ice-cold beer in our Legends Lounge beer garden, where there's never a cover charge. Check out championslane.com each week for the latest updates. Roll Tide! If you missed last night's edition of Crimson Tide Rewind, catch it on demand on the Alabama Insider podcast, as well as a video replay on the CTSN YouTube page. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Vector Security Champions Lane. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Sure, Valley Equipment Rental takes care of the homeowner and his needs, but how about the pros out there? Well, Valley Equipment has the big stuff as well. The equipment you need to get any job done. I'm talking about the big track hoe excavators, from the 30,000-pound mid-size one to the big boy 50,000-pound units. Need a dozer on the job? Well, they've got them up to 105 horsepower, and that's a good-sized machine. Plus, Valley Equipment has more lifts than anyone around. Up to 80-foot booms that reach 56 feet with a 10,000-pound capacity. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Check them out today.
Firehawk Aerospace is a non-traditional defense contractor advancing the state of propulsion to strengthen the U.S. Defense Initiative. Founded in 2019, Firehawk Aerospace established early leadership in manufactured propulsion with the development of 3D printed hybrid rocket fuel grains. Visit firehawkaerospace.com to learn more. That's firehawkaerospace.com.
Your home from Madison Academy football is on the Mustang Zone.
Looks right, tosses it, wide open, touchdown Mustangs. There on the reception, Zion Williams on the wheel route, and that's 6 on the board there for Madison Academy.
Only on 97.7 ESPN.com and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app. WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Home game. Love the home games. Here in studio, It was great to be at Jefferson's yesterday. And by the way, you ain't lying about that burger, Wes. That was an outstanding burger.
I noticed y'all came back to the office empty-handed.
Well, there was a reason.
That's all right. We're going to the Mother Church in a couple of weeks. So you'll be all right.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I didn't tell you who was scheduled for today, and I'm glad I didn't, because I just got a text message from Chris Lowe saying dealing with some breaking news. Stand by. Okay.
Well,
all right.
then.
So I had Chris
So where is Lane Kiffin going?
Very well could be the case. I get the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes. I just think he's staying, Wes.
I don't know. I don't think he knows. I don't know how you would. He's, or me or anybody. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, he said McAfee. Yeah, he said it to McAfee today.
That he's staying?
No. He did. Although Pat didn't ask him that question.
Ole Miss has told you, like, we need an answer. Is that true? And how are you handling it all with the team with what's currently taking place?
Yeah, that's absolutely not true. There's been no ultimatum, anything like that at all. And so I don't know where that came from, like a lot of stuff that comes out there. Like I said, man, we're having a blast. I love it here. I mean, our running back sitting right over here. Come on over. And it just couldn't be better. Like I said, you pray for things. Our fans prayed for this type of thing, and now we're in the middle of it. So enjoy it. You're 10-1. You're getting ready. You got a bye week. You get to watch half the country lose, and there's no way we can lose Saturday. And then you play the Egg Bowl and go dominate that and keep that Egg Bowl trophy home where it's been for a long time.
Okay, so Q1 Lacey, by the way.
There you go. Hey,
the last time I said something like that, I had my resume on the photocopier.
Anyway. Oh, so I see Reese Davis on the desk up there for College Game Day. This is in the past, this was the big event for college basketball. We've already had a number of big college basketball games. By the way, Auburn, Houston.
You know why?
Auburn, Houston was fantastic.
Because they reward these teams for playing good games, unlike the college football. Right? Seriously, that's what remember, we used to not have games like this. You'd have one or two.
That's right.
And now, you look at Alabama, Auburn, they're playing the best teams in the country almost every game. Right? Alabama's played last two games have played two top 10, top 5 opponents almost. But St. John's was the top 5 when they played them.
Yeah, that's right.
And Purdue is.
Yeah. Play the big boys.
Yeah.
Play the big boys. Didn't get a chance to go through a whole.
Isn't Houston number 1?
Yes, Houston's number 1. Purdue's up there number 2. Last year is going to be a hard standard to maintain for the SEC. Although watching Florida Sunday too, they look really good too, and that's your defending national champs. Didn't get a whole lot to play. I didn't get a chance to play a whole lot of audio yesterday, although I did get something back from what Kirby had to say, and it's how we ended the show yesterday.
We schedule them. The ones that want to leave, we schedule them. We try to get them on the schedule, because when they want to leave because they're not physical, that means they're probably going to a place that's not physical. We like those places. We like to play them. We prefer them, actually, if you can get them on the schedule. So it's one of those deals that you don't run from hard in life. You run from hard in life, you'll find more hard.
So that is kind of taken over the internet a little bit. And Kirby had a couple of other zingers yesterday. He was asked about this week's a non-conference game, and of course next week is good old-fashioned hate there between Georgia and Georgia Tech. That's a Friday game, by the way, but was asked about prepping for a potential SEC championship game with not knowing that you're in the SEC championship game.
Yeah, again, my objective is to win every game we play. So where does that put us? Puts us in that game, right? So there would be no way I would ever look at not playing in that game. We can't do that. We got to look at the opportunity to go play and win a conference championship that has eluded more programs and has been as rare to win in some. I'm a kid that grew up in the SEC footwork and thinks that that's one of the key ingredients, most important games. To talk about the future and what it holds, I can't even speculate what that holds. And to talk about the way our coaches look at it, regardless of how they look at it, how are they going to perform on the field on Saturdays? They're going to go perform to win, which puts you in that game.
What was the question? I missed the question.
Preparing for a potential SEC championship game without knowing that you're going to be in the SEC championship game.
Oh, nobody prepares for the SEC championship game anyway until that week.
Well, there's been a couple of years where the teams have known at least a week ahead,
but they're not preparing. The players aren't preparing at all. Zero. I'll tell you that right now. That doesn't happen.
Then you'll love this question.
Kirby, several teams in the SEC are still alive for the championship game. Curious, with the college football playoff now 12 teams, has how you look at reaching the championship game changed at all? Ohio State, Notre Dame went to the championship game of the CFP last year without playing in a championship game.
Yeah, how we look at going to the championship game, that would be like saying, are you looking at intentionally losing? Okay, well, that sounded like I can't. I mean, I want to win every game that we possibly play.
That was Mouse in the house asking the question. It sounded like to me. Mouse in the house.
So what does that mean?
Moving over to Kalen DeBoer, and we did talk a little bit about the Alabama-Oklahoma game yesterday, including the offensive line.
Yeah, the extended time of Wilkin at guard and Michael Carroll at right tackle. What did you think of kind of what they did together?
Yeah, I think they did a pretty good job. I thought there was things where our execution was certainly improved, and I thought Wilkin did a nice job getting off the ball in some areas. There's a goal line play that I really felt like he really had a low hat and showed some things that he's continued to work on. And Michael was out there competing. He's going to give everything he has. There's no doubt about it. He doesn't look like a freshman, and he's played a lot of snaps this year that are meaningful. And together, I think those guys had a good week of practice. And again, it wasn't perfect. Things that they could have been better on, but there was a lot of success that they had together as well.
I've never seen any offensive lineman ever grade 100. Not sure it's ever happened. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff they can get better. What I like about Carroll, and when I went to practice that day, I was with a couple guys, and one of them passed away just recently. That's my good friend, and but had a blast at the scrimmage. But one thing that stick out in my mind is watching Carroll. And I said something to you. Mm-hmm. I said they got a freshman tackle that can play. That's going to be a player. Yeah. And he's had to grow up quicker than normal. But he just gets he wants to he plays to the whistle.
Through the whistle.
Yeah, well, to the echo of the whistle is what it's called. Sound takes a minute to travel. So yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. And I love the way he plays, but he's a freshman. But by now and I think that's why they tried to play him early, because they knew he wasn't quite ready.
Mm-hmm.
But they could put him in certain situations, but not play him the whole game. And he got beat around, but really on the play he got beat around, that guy went deep, right? And in a perfect world, a quarterback has to get rid of that ball and step up and get rid of it immediately.
Yeah.
When you got that many coming, you got to throw on time. And when there's no better person in the country, and I said this after the second game, and everybody says it now, when Ty Simpson throws on time, he's the best quarterback in the country. He does extend plays, but that leads to what happened Saturday too, because when you play really good defenses, like you talk to most people, like I said yesterday in the SEC, coaches, they'll tell you Oklahoma has the best defense.
Yeah, yeah.
They have the best overall defense, and their best player didn't play, which is fair.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I think affected their pass rush. The only time they couldn't rush forward and get to Alabama, they had to blitz.
They did.
And the backs, although you can point out one or two times that the offensive line didn't get their guys, but mostly it was the backs getting beat.
Mm-hmm.
And the backs have to be better. Like Coach Glanville said yesterday, they have to be better. You have to step up and hit the guy in the mouth. And guess what? The next time, he might get to the quarterback the first time. Second time, he's not coming as fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how football works. You might make a play in the first quarter, but in the fourth quarter, and guess what? They ran that same blitz on the sack. So, you got to pick up the blitz to win. And once you pick it up and burn them, if you burn them, they'll stop blitzing.
I've got a couple other bits of audio that I wanted to play. This one from Steve Sarkisian. I don't know if you've heard this, but Kirk Bowles, who's been covering Texas forever, just forever. And we talked about this in Atlanta at the SEC Media Days of the expectations.
Yeah, $40 million.
Around the old
anywhere.
And so that led to this little back and forth. I don't know if you heard this yesterday between Kirk Bowles and Steve Sarkisian.
Steve, what would you say the main reasons are this team is underachieved?
According to who?
Well, even your preseason number one, I think most people would agree 3 losses is not achieving what you are capable of.
I mean, I guess that's into who voted us number one. Okay. What I think is that this team has competed their tail off. They've been faced with a lot of different adversity and injuries, and a lot of stuff has come across this team's plate. And I'm very, very proud of them with their resiliency. At the end of the day, at the University of Texas, we're held to a very high standard. And the standard is to compete for championships year in and year out. And we're going to play the best teams in the country. We're going to schedule the best teams in the country. But by the end of the season, we'll play, of our 12 regular season opponents, 5 of those teams will be top 10 teams when we played them. So nearly half our schedule. And we have an opportunity at the end of the regular season to do something that nobody's done since 2019. And that's beat 3 top 10 ranked teams in the regular season. The last team to do that was LSU with Joe Burrow. So have we been faced with a pretty difficult schedule? Have we been faced with high expectations? Sure, but that's why we came here. So we'll be okay.
That's just,
there's a difference though. The 2019 LSU team, they won all those games, Coach.
Right. Yeah. I think Alabama's played 5 this year, top 10 teams.
Well, it was 4 in a row.
Yeah.
And then Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah. But I don't blame Sarkisian. I mean, he got to pump his team up, and there are not many people that can have to go to Ohio State and go to Georgia in the same year.
Yeah.
And if you talk to any coach in the Southeastern Conference, Florida has great talent.
They lost at Florida.
Yeah, I know that. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
But they have great talent.
They do.
And the offensive line for Texas is not a championship offensive line.
It's really not. They got exposed
100%.
early.
Well, they're freshmen.
Yeah.
You cannot play a bunch of freshmen and expect to win championships. So I want to say whoever voted him number one.
Preseason.
Yeah, and probably that asshole that asked the questions, one of them.
I mean, Kirk Bowles.
Can you say that?
Come on now. Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah.
I hit the button just in case.
Well.
Anyway, I made enough noise about our license. I figured I better just play it safe.
McAfee has pushed the line so much. So
not past that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you can't sit there and that guy voted. Well, and now he's blaming the team because what he predicted, which is wrong every year, more than likely, didn't come true. Well, I knew Texas wasn't going to win the national championship. I told you that.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, they can buy all these teams, but they didn't buy any offensive linemen. You better be buying some offensive linemen. And you better be buying the right ones, or I know I can't say what Saban says.
Yeah.
Or you're out of luck.
Well, and you remember one of those rants was like this kind of week against,
Yeah.
One of his historic rants came on this week.
Through a tin horn.
That's right, the old tin horn.
Yeah, tin
But
horn.
it's something you just said did make me think of what Kirby also had to say of no more old college football teams.
I mean, we're going to be young every year. So, I don't think college football is going to have old teams anymore. I think they're going to be youth across the board. And we're going to have to, I'm going to have to get used to being patient because it's what it is. How fast can you grow your youth compared to others? But I'm proud of this group and what they've done. They've got good intangibles. They work hard. They'll get tested this week in terms of their focus and how well they can continue to elevate as opposed to.
So that's
I mean, and how lucky is Georgia that Tennessee's field goal kicker didn't make that kick, or it'd be a different tune.
Yeah,
I mean, this is in every game.
Yeah,
every Southeastern Conference game. I don't know what the average is. I think at one time it was 3.5.
I know at one point there was 27 one-score games, and that was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
so
that's what you're going to have.
Yeah,
it's like watching NFL teams play, but a little different is if one guy gets hurt, the next guy coming in is really, really young, and that's where the rubber meets the road. If they're offensive linemen, and then you're the fourth quarter, and they're running these crazy blitzes they've been working on for the last 3 months, they're hard to pick up. It's hard to pick up if you know that if you can recognize it.
Yeah.
Much less if you're not young and you don't recognize it, because it takes a lot of practice to pick those things up.
Chris Lowe is trying to carve out some time for us, but we need to talk some injury week before the Iron Bowl, and there is news. Kalen DeBoer had this to say on Latham yesterday.
Saturday being senior day, do you have any kind of update on Jamarian Latham and maybe where he stands on looking to come back for his 7th year?
Yeah, nothing as far as what the future holds. I know we'll continue to talk with him on that here. And obviously there would have to be something that's done from the NCAA level to get that year as well.
Nathaniel's here with us from Johnson and Hayes. Always.
That's the Pavia rule now, isn't it?
Yeah, for real. Well, that court case is coming up in December. I think December 15th is when, in theory, when the judge is going to rule on that. How are you?
I'm well, guys. How about y'all?
Good. It's been a while since we've seen you.
I know. Staying busy.
Well, I know we've talked about Jamarian, but tell me just how difficult of a process is to come back from this type of foot injury.
Right. So Jamarian is coming back from his he's come back from a neck injury.
Oh, that's the neck. That's right. Yeah.
So he was a neck injury. He was the one hurt in practice. Probably, I think it was right before the Georgia game.
Yeah, it was Rusal with the foot.
Yeah, Rusal with the foot.
Yeah.
And Jamarian Latham, from all reports, did well. He was transported to UAB. They did their thing, and and I read an earlier report that Kalen DeBoer said that he had been coming along very well in his rehab, and I know that they're going to have a lot of conversations over the next couple months to determine, number one, just making sure this young kid continues to improve, and then weigh in his options later on if he can even be cleared to play again, and just what that would look like. So I'm very encouraged that he's made good progress in his rehab. And hope the best for him on that. If he can get a medical red shirt and he's cleared to play and he feels comfortable to play, and he's kind of all the way back.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I don't think he's been. It might be he never gets cleared to play.
Right,
that's a very big possibility on Latham. Mm-hmm. But you're talking about Russo. Talk a little bit about his injury, but. The problem with Russo is Jan Pierre might be the best guy in the conference.
Yeah,
one of them.
Yeah,
and they never come out and said exactly what his surgical procedure was on his foot. I have some suspicion, but I won't postulate on that. But he's, from all reports, he could have went this past weekend at Oklahoma or playing Oklahoma, and I think that you'll probably see him get some reps against Eastern Illinois this week. Kind of use that as a kind of a pre-game, kind of let him see how he plays. How comfortable does he feel on that foot? Playing defensive line, especially in the end position. How explosive is he off the first step?
Because that's his deal,
right? I mean, that's what he's known for. He's known as that kind of freak athlete, that real twitchy athlete. And you know, it's going to be hard competing against Andre Pierre, who's playing so well right now. But you know, just to get some depth back, you know, prior to him kind of run.
And I think last year they had to ask too much of him as a freshman, and he was in the wrong spot a bunch. I mean, you can go back and look, and even some this year. I think he's more of a role, in my opinion, at this point in his career, when he's 100%, he's more of a role player. When he's a go-getter, go get the quarterback. He's not a guy that, so far, everybody grows, you know. Another guy we had talked about is Auburn had some injuries as well.
Yep. So I saw in the report today that their linebacker Riddick was out for the rest of the year. Said that he had a shoulder labral surgery repair. He was spotted in a sling. So he'll be done for the rest of the year. I think he had a pretty good breakout season last year.
He did.
And then, you know, not has been as big with some of the additions of the linebacking core, but definitely a big hit to them from a depth perspective. So
from Nathan King of 247, it's his left shoulder. So I mean, this is a high octane Auburn defense, and that is just part of that will be missing next Saturday.
Right. And labral tears are very common in football. You know, mainly there's a couple of different types. The one that's most familiar in football would be kind of your bank heart tear, which is from an anterior dislocation or the shoulder coming out of the front. You see that with landing on an outstretched arm. You see that getting tied up, you know, going in to make a tackle. So usually those become unstable, and the labrum, which is a very important structure that kind of deepens the socket, applies for more stability in the shoulder. When you dislocate and you tear portions of that, you kind of lose that stability. And so you become a directional instability. So
the rubber band loosens basically?
It does. And like for, you know, if it was me, you know, that's something I can manage with you know, some therapy and some rotator cuff strengthening and scapular stabilization work. But these higher level athletes, most of those are going to be repaired because the instability becomes too much, where they're either chronically dislocating or they're not feeling like they have the strength in that shoulder. And another one that you usually see from a lineman perspective, we see this a lot in linemen, just when outstretched arm pass blocking, you'll see it come out the back. You'll see a posterior bank heart. And those are a little bit more tenuous. Those are the surgery's a little bit
sounds painful.
Complex.
It hurts.
I mean, I don't know. I just
that's a slower recovery. Those posterior ones, and then
what do they call it when it comes out and it's backwards, sticking up in the air? That's what happened to me.
You know, Drew Brees' injury.
Yeah, you know what they did? How they?
Do I want to know?
The head coach put his foot on my shoulder and pulled it, and it rotated back in.
Wow.
Roll Tide.
Yeah. But these injuries, I mean, with him being out for the rest of the year, you know, he's definitely going to go through the rehab process, and you know, hopefully be ready to go in the spring ball for his position. But yeah, something that's very common that we see mostly from trauma. And then some of the other ones you might see in baseball from your pitchers, or even like in football, your quarterbacks are going to be a little bit more like that repetitive micro trauma type stuff, more so than what you see with like a traumatic hit. So,
but thank goodness that
Johnson and Hayes,
fix it, and you go to Johnson and Hayes, and they make you new again.
Yeah. That's johnsonandhayes.com, HAYES.com. And now that we're at this point of the football season, then pardon me for immediately looking at my phone. Chris Lowe continues to pepper me, but just preparing for this type of year, how much prep time is made for specifically really from now? You want to be playing into January.
Yeah. And so, you know, now it's just about, I always say it's that time of the season you're just holding on. You know, you're trying your best to, you know, lean on what you did over the spring and the summer, your conditioning, your sleep, your nutrition, your PT, all of that. So you're just trying to hang on get to some of these playoff games, try to get a little healthier with a little bit of time in between. But now with the new format, it's going to be hard. So you're trying your best just to try to stay as healthy as you can.
It is johnsonandhayes.com, Hayes. And apparently we'll be joined by Chris Lowe on the other side of our first time out. Good to see you. Don't be a stranger.
I'll be back.
As much as we love Michaela, we love Michaela. Go Bears. Go Bears. We'll be back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is your opportunity to register to win a pair of Army and Navy football tickets to this year's game, courtesy of Higher Echelon. All you have to do is answer this question correctly to get registered, and you'll be registered to win a pair of tickets to this year's Army-Navy football game. Today's trivia question: the Army-Navy game has been played in Philadelphia how many times? 256-576-4977. 256-576-4977. Good luck.
It's early Black Friday at Woody Anderson Ford, and that means loads of incentives that make owning or leasing an award-winning Ford that much easier. Hello, I'm Don Wessels, and let's talk Ford owner loyalty first. If you currently own a Ford, you'll get a $1,500 bonus on 25 Bronco Sport and 25 Explorer, plus a $1,000 bonus on 25 F-150, no trade-in required. Happen to own a Bronco Sport competitor? You'll get a $2,000 bonus. Same for Conquest Cash on 25 Bronco and Explorer. Plus, get 0% financing for 60 months on select Fords, including 25 F-150, Explorer, Escape, and more. And you'll make no payments for 90 days with approved credit. Woody Anderson Ford also has 0 down leases on our most popular models, and they come with 2 years of premium complimentary maintenance. Hurry though, these early Black Friday offers end November 29th. It's a smart time to buy. Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement, it's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You'll love the expanded wine selection at Liquor Express. From special occasion to everyday table wines, they've got what you need. Meet your friends at the largest tap wall in Alabama with 105 rotating selections. Then take home a growler full of your favorite or choose from our 1,000 canned or bottled beers. Need help stocking your bar or planning your party? Liquor Express has a knowledgeable, professional, in-house staff that can assist you with anything from your bar to the planning of your special event. Visit liquorexpress.net for tasting specials, giveaways, and classes.
Need tough equipment you can count on? Christopher Equipment has you covered. Whether it's air compressors, trenchers, bucket lifts, concrete tools, generators, skid steers, and more. Serving you with locations in Tullahoma, Shelbyville, Manchester, Fayetteville, and Hazel Green. Christopher Equipment. From job site to backyard, rent or buy, Christopher Equipment delivers the tools you need when you need them. Call 931-455-3900 or visit christopher.equipment today. Christopher Equipment, powering your project.
Injured in a car accident? Get the help you need. I'm Morris Lilienthal, a personal injury lawyer right here in Huntsville. I've personally helped over 4,000 clients with their injury claims. My firm, Martinson & Beeson, has been helping clients for over 80 years, and we have received over 300 5-star Google reviews. We know that injuries and accidents can be life-changing, and I'm here to help you navigate the entire process. Get in touch with me right now by visiting morristheattorney.com. There's no charge for our meeting, and that's morristheattorney.com. I look forward to helping you.
No representation is made. The quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by the lawyer.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyandersonford.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
The third college football playoff rankings come up tonight in between the Kentucky-Michigan State game, which is about to tip it up, and following that will be the Kansas-Duke game. We will join it at the top of the hour. That is why Chris Lowe from On 3, kind enough to join us in what is this your busiest time of the year right now, Chris, right now?
It's one of them. Yeah, it sure is. With all the chaos this year in the coaching world, guys coming and going and getting fired and hirings. And so, yeah, it's right up there.
Well, we appreciate the time, sincerely.
Do you think that they should be able to fire coaches after week 3 and week 4 of the year? I mean, do you think they should change that? I guess is a better question.
Well, I guess my question was, who was they?
Well, athletic directors. Well, and that'd be a good question in Louisiana, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it makes a lot of sense unless there's some type of egregious behavior.
Right, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see how it helps. Doesn't help the team. It's not like you can really get started trying to find a coach. I mean, yeah, you can do your homework behind the scenes with the search committee, but does it help the players? No. I mean, what it does is it gives players in this day and age more of a chance to start trying to find where they're going to play next, where they're going to go, and they start. That's their focus, and not on the team the rest of the way. So I think honestly, guys, I think when that happens, it's more the AD bowing to money people and boosters and donors that are just mad and emotional and want to change.
And we saw Virginia Tech land James Franklin, and what kind of fit do you think that is, Chris?
Yeah, well, he's a good example. I mean, there's a guy been at Penn State for 12 years, and I mean, we know what his record was against top 10 teams, but
yeah,
he still had 5 of his last 8 teams had finished in the top 10. And are they going to bring in somebody who's appreciably better than he is and more accomplished? Probably not. I think James he knows that area pretty well. He was at Maryland for a while. He's recruited that area up and down that seaboard. He's a guy that has proven he can coach. I mean, how many guys have gone to Vandy and won 9 games in back-to-back years? He did get Penn State back to a nationally relevant level. I mean, they were in the semifinals last year. They were one drive away from playing for the title. So I think Virginia Tech, honestly, when you look at all the people out there and who may or may not get jobs, they probably got a guy who's as established as anybody. There's just that stigma sometimes of hiring a guy who just got fired. In some fan bases, some ADs, they don't like that. But I do think James is a good football coach. Just wasn't able to beat the best teams on his schedule consistently at Penn State. But how many people beat Ohio State?
Yeah,
a bunch over the last few years, and some really good Michigan teams during Harbaugh's last few years. So
especially
I don't know
when they had all the plays.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
yeah,
They knew the plays. They were calling the plays.
Those two teams over the Big Ten over the last 5 or 6 years were dominant, and I think a lot of schools around the country would have lost those games. But listen, when you're getting paid the kind of cash that all these guys are at the top schools, I mean, you've got to beat your rivals. I don't care if it's Penn State or Alabama or Texas or Ohio State. You've got to beat your rivals at least as much as they beat you.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's the life and times of Lane Kiffin. And as much as I really enjoyed that 30 for 30 that Ryan McGee did, that feels like there could have been many parts to that, and it's still going. Enlighten me on what you've heard about the life and times of Lane Kiffin over the last 2 weeks.
I think he's always been somebody who's had a hard time making a decision. And I think that's where we are right now.
100%.
He's probably at a spot where a lot of us would like to be. He's a wanted man. He's got two of the best jobs in America that want him. He's at a place clearly that he's pretty happy at, a place that he's prospered off the field, on the field, a place that's been really good to him. I mean, they've given him everything it takes to win there, and he's done things that has never, on the field that they haven't done at Mississippi in, 5-6 decades. I just think that Lane is a unique dude, and I think anybody who's ever worked with him or has been around him, he's not like a lot of people that we know, and he has just not been able to make this decision. I don't think he's doing this purposely. I think it's one of those things where he knows if he leaves Ole Miss in what is probably one of the best years they've ever had and goes somewhere else and they're going to the playoff, that's the kind of thing that sort of becomes your legacy. Is he ready to do that? I don't know. And I think that's sort of where he is. And yet he's got LSU. I think we all would agree. And I know there's the whole stuff with the governor, but still historically been one of the best jobs out there. And then you got Florida, a job that there's no reason it can't be. And it certainly has been. You got a chance to go there and return that program to glory. Are you ever going to get that kind of chance again? And I think he's just not been able to come to a conclusion. That said, if you're Ole Miss, you got to have a decision. You can't let this thing go on much longer because you got to protect yourself and your program because of what the calendar is. Signing days in December, the portal opens the 1st or 2nd of January. If you got a guy who's in your building who's not going to be your coach 3-4 weeks from now, you got to figure out a way to part ways and move on and bring in somebody else. And I think that's just sort of where both parties are right now.
And Chris, I know it's been a couple of weeks since you wrote this, but I am so glad you did write about this hot seat talk around Josh Heupel. Utterly ridiculous of considering where that program was and where they are now. Honestly, I thank you. I enjoyed that article a couple of weeks ago, sir.
Well, Tennessee's probably not unlike a lot of fan bases in the league in that everybody looks at it's their God-given right to win 9 or 10 games every year. And if you don't, then it's time to start looking for a new coach. Well, I got news for the Tennessees, the Auburns, the Bamas, the Georgias, maybe not Georgias and Bamas because they have, but Tennessee and LSU and Auburn and South Carolina and all the other schools that think they're going to win at least 9. Wait till next year when we go to 9 league games. Guess what? There's going to be a lot of 8. There's going to be a lot of 8, 9-win teams, 8-win teams in that league who are going to be pretty good football teams. But they're going to have 4 losses because remember, over and above 9 league games, everybody's got to play a non-conference game against the Power 4 team. So I think I made I can't remember if I wrote it in that article or another one, Steve, but
yeah,
fans are going to sort of have to reprogram themselves a little bit.
You did write it in that one. Yeah.
They're going to have to because there's going to be, you look at Alabama this year. Alabama's got a really good football team. I know that the loss last week was disappointing, but there are going to be a lot of teams like that, even more teams like that next year that have 3 or 4 losses because you're playing one extra league game, and people are going to look at that and say, well, golly, how did that team lose 3 or 4 games? Well, guess what? When you're playing 9 games in this league every year and you're playing a Michigan or, Ohio State or whoever, USC, Florida State. Now, Florida State's not very good this year.
Yeah.
Then there's a darn good chance you're going to lose at least 3 games.
Yeah. And are you hearing anything about the Auburn job right now, Chris? Well, I keep hearing Summerall, but
yeah, I still think Summerall is a guy that's right there in the middle of that. I think Clark Lee of Vanderbilt is a guy they've talked to, and certainly a guy that has proven he can coach football. Those are the 2 names I hear most prominently.
You don't think the ties to him being alumni at Vandy are going to keep him there, or?
Well, I think it's going to be harder to get him away.
Yeah,
but I still think if you go to a place like Auburn or somewhere else like that, you're going to have more resources. You're going to have a chance to get better players. Probably your NIL is going to be better. So I think coaches all want to win at the highest level they possibly can. I don't think Clark would leave just because he felt like he needed to get away, or there was some stigma at coaching at a place like Vandy because it is his school, and he grew up in Nashville. That's his city too. He went to high school there. But if he thinks he could go to Auburn, or if let's say Lane leaves Ole Miss and goes to LSU or goes to Florida, I think Ole Miss right now looks like a pretty attractive job.
Yeah.
So there's some domino effect that's still made.
Any chance Durkin could actually land that job if?
I think there's a pathway for him. Certainly, if he were to win out and beat the Tide there the last Saturday of the regular season, he would have some support. I still think they probably are more apt to go outside and bring somebody in, but whoever it is, and listen, all fan bases are prideful in the SEC. They all feel like their job is a good job. There's no warts. There's nothing inherently wrong. I don't care who you are, not just Auburn. But the fact is, this is going to be the fourth head coach there in 7 years.
Yeah.
Which says, well, you could probably, we could sit here all day and debate what that says.
That's a lot of, that's at least 8 quarterbacks, right?
Yeah. They need to get this one right. Auburn needs to get this hire right. And so much of that is having somebody. People talk about fit, but you're right. Somebody can come in now in this day and age, and their evaluations could be good in the portal. They're able to recruit that state, able to win their share of battles. And when you get them on campus, you got to get your team to respond and play. And Auburn's a lot more talented team. And I'm not beating up on Hugh Freeze. I've known Freeze for a long time. I thought when he got to Auburn, he would do a good job. I thought he was a good fit. They get good players in there. They'd be good on offense, and they'd be a tough out for people. Now, as it turns out, the quarterback situation, they never figured it out.
No, he just totally whiffed on it.
Yeah, and yet you look at that team right now, the talent on that team, a receiver, they played, for the most part, played their butts off on defense most of the year. That's a good talented football team. They've just not been able to win close games over and over again. And I say this with Bama coming up. They play in Auburn. I've been at each of the last 2 games on the Plains between those 2 teams. And it took miracles both times for Alabama to win those games. And I'll bet you that game on the Plains here in a couple of weeks will be a game that goes right down into the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, every SEC team game does.
A lot of them have this year. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of gap. You guys remember when Nick and certainly when Kirby got to Georgia, and then of course LSU in 19, you had 2 or 3 teams dominating the league for what 6, 7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah.
The gap between Georgia and Alabama and everybody else was pretty wide, from 15 to 23, 22.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's not like that anymore.
No.
I mean, you're right, Wes. I mean, you look every week, somebody that you don't think has a chance to win, or somebody that's maybe 11th or 12th or 13th in the league, goes in and either beats somebody or plays them right into the last couple of minutes. I mean, that the Ole Miss Florida game was a really good football game, competitive football game last Saturday. And that game was in Ole Miss. And the week before that, or 2 weeks before that, Florida got beat badly. And Kentucky's another team. Kentucky got boat raced by Tennessee.
Yeah.
And they figure out how to win a few games. So I think this year, we sort of started last year, but this year to me has been different than what we were used to in the SEC the last few years, because it really is about as close between team 11 and 12 to say team 2, 3, 4 as we've seen in a long, long time. And I think this season has sort of bears it out. I mean, think about the A&M South Carolina game.
Yeah. Yeah.
No matter the comeback, the mere fact that Carolina would be up 27 points in College Station on A&M is, I would have bet a lot of money that would never happen. And then I think probably would bet even more that A&M would be able to come back from that deficit and win. So it's been that kind of year. And you know what? I bet you there's still, with 2 weeks to play, and certainly 3 if you count the championship game, we're still probably in for a little bit more chaos.
100%. So where do you think Lane's going? If you were betting, what odds would you put on?
Yeah, and I've been asked that. You're only like the 97th person who's asked me that in the last 3 days. I don't know. I mean, would you want to get inside his mind, Lane Kiffin's mind?
That's a great answer. That's a great answer.
I don't know.
Namaste.
Let me answer it this way. It's a hard decision for him. And I think if it was definitely Ole Miss, he would already re-signed the contract.
Yeah, 100% on that. So, of course, my son's there, and
he's a secondary coach.
Yeah, he's a secondary coach there, and he's coached with
Well,
Lane.
then you should have some insight.
Well, I have a little insight, but I don't.
Let's hear it.
Well, I think you put it very well. I think it changes daily.
Yeah,
and I think you can tell when he talks. I think he had made up his mind, and now I think he's waffling.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Made up his mind to stay. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't. I think he was
made up his mind.
He was
going to
leave.
Yeah,
and now I think he's having second thoughts.
Yeah, I think and there have been layers of it too. Because remember, Florida was open before LSU, and then all of a sudden LSU opened, and it's like, oh wow, I got two that are interested. And hey, I mean, as I said earlier to you guys, I'm ever going to be in this kind of spot again, and then his team continues to win. That I don't care what you think about Lane, that community and that place has been good for him,
and he's been good for it. The whole aura has changed. I'm telling you,
it's a two-way street. You're right. And
I've been to a bunch of games.
I think he is having a hard time.
Yes.
I think you're right. He's having a hard time making up his mind, and I think. But we're probably at a point now, and I mean for Lane and for the university, the program, that he's going to have to decide.
Chris, I've got two more questions for you. And Eli Drankowitz last Wednesday kind of laid it out for me on everything that's in front of him, from the rev share that November 15th was when the rev share for the first year for implementation. Then you've also got the court case coming out on December 15th. For the 5th year of eligibility, as well as National Signing Day, and one portal period as well in this cycle. I mean, this is a lot to juggle right now for these programs. And I'm wondering if just talking with coaches with a lot on their plate, is there something that's maybe bigger, or is it just collectively just gigantic all around it?
Probably the latter. I think just how much has changed and all the newness and the one, it's hard to really make a judgment. People talk about, well, the one portal window is better. Well, you know what? Let's go through 1 or 2 years and see. We may all look at it differently in 2 years. The one window versus the second. Some schools have basically saved their seasons in that late portal. I mean, look at Tennessee gets Joey Aguilar
exactly
in the late portal last year, and he's played really well this year. If they don't get him, if there is no late portal, they're screwed.
That's what's so hilarious to me is we talked to a bunch of Tennessee fans and media people, and they were saying we're not going to be any good.
Yeah.
And now they overperformed really from what their expectation, and now they think they should have won more. Now he's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Makes no sense whatsoever.
It still fluctuates for them. I mean, 7-5 looks a lot different than 9-3. They got to play at Florida and beat Florida since
2003.
I think, Steve, you were in high school the last time they beat Florida down there. It's been a long time.
But they predicted 6-6, did they not?
Yeah, it was. That was.
They were picked like 9th in the league, I think, is where they were picked.
Yeah.
But it just. I think your point earlier, Wes, the difference, the margin in this league right now between being a 7-win team and a 9 or 10-win team is pretty thin. And Tennessee's a great example of that. If they go and win and then follow that up and beat probably the best Vanderbilt team they've ever played, then they're 9-3. And that's with close losses. They lost close to Georgia and lost close to Oklahoma. But if they lose these next two, it'll be a long, restless offseason in Knoxville.
Yeah. Yeah, especially losing to Florida with how things have panned out at Florida this year. The last question I have for you is tonight's rankings that are coming out. 2-loss Notre Dame, 2-loss Alabama. What do you think the committee's going to do tonight?
Well, I don't. You know what? I don't think it matters because I think if both those teams went out, they're both going to. Seeding might matter, but they're both going to be in.
Okay.
I don't think Bama's got. I say don't need to worry about. I know. Anytime Bama loses, the earth is falling. But
it's off its axis. Always, it's off its axis.
Yeah, they take care of business. They're still going to get in. They beat a lot of good teams this year. I'm not carrying water for Kalen and that staff players, but they have beaten some good. They played a tough schedule and beat some good teams. Now I know they're not running the ball and there's some warts there, but I got to think if they finish this thing out, which they're going to win this week, and they got to beat Auburn. They're in at 10-2. The crazy thing is if they get to the SEC championship game. Now I'm a big believer in this. If you get to a title game in your conference, Big Ten, SEC, and you lose, you should not be penalized for losing a conference championship. That would be wrong. I don't care what league you're in. If you're in the playoff and then you go and lose in your conference championship game and that knocks you out, then you know what? They should just do away with conference championship games if that's the case.
Yeah.
So that would be the one. You asked me what the rankings look like. That would be the one maybe potentially dicey thing for Alabama if they were to lose in the championship game. I still think if they went out in the regular season, they're going to get in. And I saw Notre Dame a lot. I was at Pittsburgh Saturday.
Okay.
And they're good.
Yeah.
They're a good football team. They got some big time playmakers. The running back's good. I like the quarterback. They're good on defense. I know everybody says, well, how would they fare in the SEC? Well, I think they'd probably lose 3 games at least in the SEC. But, as close as the SEC's been this year, maybe they get the ball to bounce their way. They're a good football team. And I think last year we had our doubts too about Notre Dame, and they won, 3 or 4 straight games over top 8 teams. So a lot of it's being healthy, getting hot at the right time, having your quarterback playing at a high level, and being good in the defensive line. And right now, Notre Dame's good up front defensively. They got a good quarterback, and they're pretty healthy. So we'll see. The school that and I'm not being just because I live in the state, but to me, I sure hope Vanderbilt, if they win out, gets a legitimate look for the playoff. I hope they don't just get brushed aside.
Yeah.
Just because they're Vanderbilt.
I
If
mean,
they're 10-2,
they're
10-2 and they beat Tennessee at Tennessee, then I think they deserve to get in.
That's real. And I mean, it's hard to disagree with that, honestly. But then everything has to shake out. But this time a year ago, Chris, I was thinking it was definitely going to be 4 teams, and the SEC ended up with 3. Just how things shook out.
Yeah, maybe it goes the other way this year. Maybe they get 5. Oklahoma, I think, is of all those teams with 2 losses.
Yeah.
Oklahoma may be in the best position because they've got 2 games coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're both at home. They should win. And they've got wins, each of the last few weeks on the road against top 20 teams that I think the committee will probably weigh pretty heavily in their favor.
And should.
Are we sneaking up at all on an announcement from the playoffs of expansion? Or
But December 1st,
yeah.
December 1st is everything I hear that it's, you got the Big Ten talking about 24, which I think is ludicrous. Tennessee, the SEC would prefer 16, but you know what? If they can't agree, they're just going to stay status quo. And if I had, Wes's money, I'd probably bet right now that's what's going to happen. They're just going to stay at 12, which I don't know that that's a bad thing because do you think we, in 2 years, is there enough of a body of work in 2 years to really truly assess it and say, well, 12 doesn't work. Maybe we need to go 4 and then make that decision whether we need to go to 16 or whatever. But I just don't know that 2 years in anything is enough to really make a true assessment of what's working and what's not.
It's really fair. And they even tinkered it after that first, which I completely agree with. And I think most sane people would agree that the straight seating and makes just complete sense moving forward.
Well, they got that wrong. And you're right, to their credit, they corrected that because the best 4 teams, I don't care what league you're in or what league you won, the best 4 teams should get a bye that first week. And, I think there's, certainly had Alabama not lost, maybe even still, I think there's a real chance that the top 4 seeds are going to be all Big Ten, all SEC.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it,
guys.
sir.
Take care.
That
Hey,
is-
tell Wes, when you know what Lane's going to do, call me.
I'll call you right away.
Looking for the scoop.
Yes.
Looking for the scoop.
I think I'll be the
looking for the scoop.
I'll be the last to know.
You never know. You never know. Yeah. I know we kind of went extended time there, but we're only 1 hour, and Michigan State and Kentucky are playing right now. It's 21-17 Sparty right now over the Wildcats. Now, again, the college football playoff poll comes out in between this game and the following game. That answers my question as to what you're doing back there. And that'll be followed by Kansas at Duke. So you'll enjoy that game as well. Tomorrow, Baumhauer's Victory Grill. This is 3 weeks in a row. Come on now. 3 weeks in a row. And some more breaking news. Trudy Armand will not be with us tomorrow.
That means we get to eat more.
He may swing by just to say hello. You want to give the odds on that? Let's
100%.
Are those better odds than Lane staying at Ole Miss? Yes,
Probably.
they are. Yes, they are. You can tune in to Drew and Scott every weekday morning. Well, basketball comes up right after this timeout.
It's early Black Friday at Woody Anderson Ford, and that means loads of incentives that make owning or leasing an award-winning Ford that much easier. Hello, I'm Don Wessels, and let's talk Ford owner loyalty first. If you currently own a Ford, you'll get a $1,500 bonus on 25 Bronco Sport and 25 Explorer.